So I just got back from running some errands, still in the car, and something hit me on the drive back that I need to talk about right now while it's fresh. Because this is one of those things I genuinely wish somebody had sat me down and said to my face years ago, and nobody did. And I had to learn it the hard way, the slow way, the painful way. And I don't want that for you. There are things, real, important, life-changing things that nobody tells you. Not your parents, not your teachers, not the church, not your friends. Not because they're hiding them from you, but because a lot of the time they don't know either. Or because they knew once and forgot. Or because the world just moves so fast and so loud that these things get buried under all the noise. And you end up spending years, sometimes decades, operating without information you desperately needed, making decisions based on a picture of life that was never fully accurate, carrying weight that was never yours to carry, waiting for things that were never going to arrive the way you expected. So today I'm going to say the things I wish somebody had said to me directly. No softening, no padding, no spiritual sugarcoating, just the truth, plain and straight. First thing, and I mean this, your feelings are not facts, but they are information. And most people never learn the difference. Here's what I mean. A feeling is real. It's a real, lived experience. It matters. It should be respected. But a feeling is not automatically true about the world or about you. The feeling of being worthless is real. It's a real feeling. But it is not a fact about your worth. The feeling that nobody cares is real. But it is not a fact about whether people care. The feeling that you've missed your window, that it's too late, that you've made too many mistakes to ever get back on track, those feelings are real and they hurt and they deserve to be acknowledged. But they are not facts. And for a long time, I treated my feelings like facts and made enormous decisions based on them, and it cost me. It cost me time, it cost me relationships, it cost me opportunities I didn't take because a feeling told me I wasn't ready. The skill, and it is a skill, it takes actual work to develop, is learning to feel something fully without automatically believing everything it tells you. To say, okay, I feel this, I'm going to sit with it, I'm going to acknowledge it, but I'm also going to ask, is this actually true? Is there evidence for this? Or is this just fear wearing the costume of truth? Most people never ask that question. They just believe the feeling, and it runs their life. Second thing, nobody is coming to save you. And the sooner you really accept that, not just intellectually, but in your bones, the sooner your life actually starts moving. Now, I want to be careful here because I believe in God. I believe in help. I believe in community. I believe people can change your life. But there's a version of waiting that a lot of us do that is not faith. It's avoidance, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to see your potential and hand you an opportunity, waiting for your situation to change before you change, waiting for permission, waiting for certainty, waiting to feel ready. And I'm telling you directly, that kind of waiting will take your whole life if you let it, because the moment never arrives. The certainty never comes. The permission never shows up from the outside in the way you've been imagining it. At some point, you have to stop waiting and start moving. Not because everything is aligned, not because you have everything figured out, not because you feel ready, but because the waiting itself is the thing keeping you stuck. The movement is what creates the clarity, not the other way around. You will never think your way into the life you want. You have to move your way into it. And that means starting before you're ready, starting imperfectly, starting with what you have from where you are, even when it feels embarrassingly small, because small and moving beats large and waiting every single time. Third thing, the version of yourself you keep waiting to become, the confident one, the healed one, the one who has it together. That version is not going to show up one day fully formed. You become that person through the process of living, not at the end of it. And I know that sounds obvious when I say it out loud, but think about how many decisions you've been postponing until you feel more ready, more healed, more confident. How many conversations you haven't had, how many steps you haven't taken, how many things you haven't started because you were waiting for a version of yourself that was going to feel more equipped. That version isn't coming first. You don't get confidence and then take the risk. You take the risk and the confidence comes from having taken it. You don't get healing and then show up for your life. You show up for your life and the healing happens in the process of doing it. Everything you're waiting to feel before you act is actually a result of acting, not a prerequisite for it. And that reversal, that simple flip, action produces the feeling, not the other way around. That one thing, if you actually apply it, will change your life faster than almost anything else I could tell you. Fourth thing, most of the opinions you've been managing, the ones that have quietly shaped your decisions for years, belong to people who are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. This one is hard to hear, and I'm going to say it anyway. The fear of what people will think is one of the most powerful forces in most people's lives. It keeps people in the wrong jobs, the wrong relationships, the wrong cities, the wrong version of themselves for years, decades sometimes. And here's the brutal truth about that fear. The people you're managing your life around are largely not watching. They have their own fears, their own insecurities, their own version of this exact same thing going on. They are not keeping a running record of your choices the way you imagine they are. And even the ones who do notice, who do have opinions, who do talk, their opinion of your life does not change your life. Only your choices change your life. Only your actions change your life. And every day you spend making choices based on managing somebody else's perception of you is a day you didn't spend building something that was actually yours. I spent years doing this, years making choices that were really just about managing how I appeared to specific people. And when I finally stopped, when I finally got tired enough of that performance to just do the thing I actually wanted to do, I realized something that stung a little. Most of those people didn't even notice the change because they were never watching as closely as I thought. The audience I was performing for was mostly in my own head, and I had given it enormous power over my real life. Don't do that. Or if you've been doing it, stop. Right now, if you can. Stop performing for an audience that is mostly imaginary. Fifth thing, boundaries are not walls. And for a long time, I didn't understand the difference, and it cost me in both directions. A wall is when you shut people out entirely, when you protect yourself by just never letting anyone close enough to hurt you. And that protects you from pain, technically, but it also protects you from connection, from love, from the kind of relationships that actually change you and sustain you and make life feel worth living. Walls are not strength. Walls are just fear that learned how to look like independence. A boundary is different. A boundary says, I know what I need, I know what I can give, and I know where that line is. It's not about shutting people out. It's about knowing yourself well enough to know what you can carry and what you can't. What's yours to take on and what isn't. What kind of treatment you'll accept and what you won't. And holding that line not out of punishment or control, but out of self-knowledge and self-respect. And here's the thing about boundaries that nobody tells you. When you start setting real ones, some people in your life are going to react badly. They're going to call you selfish. They're going to say you've changed, like it's an accusation. They're going to push back against the line because they benefited from the absence of it. And that reaction, as uncomfortable as it is actually confirmation that the boundary was necessary. Because the people who genuinely care about you, the people who want what's actually good for you, don't fall apart when you say, I can't do that, or that doesn't work for me. They adjust. They respect it. Sometimes they even thank you for it eventually, because it creates a more honest dynamic between you. Sixth thing, hard seasons are not punishments. And I know that seems simple, but I cannot tell you how many years I spent in hard seasons convinced that I was being punished for something. That the difficulty was evidence of some failure on my part, some mistake I'd made, some reason I was less favored than the people around me whose lives seemed to be going more smoothly. And that belief, that hardship equals punishment, will wreck you. Because it means every difficult season becomes evidence against you. Every closed door becomes proof that you're not enough. Every loss becomes confirmation of your worst fears about yourself. And you end up spending the hard season not just dealing with the actual difficulty, but also dealing with the story you're telling yourself about what the difficulty means about you. Hard seasons are preparation. Hard seasons are refinement. Hard seasons are the terrain that produces the specific kind of strength and depth and wisdom that easy seasons simply cannot produce. And I'm not saying that to be glib about pain. Pain is real and it should be respected, and you don't have to pretend it isn't hard. But there's a difference between going through a hard season and being destroyed by it. And a big part of what determines which one it is the story you tell yourself about what it means. If the story is, I'm being punished, I'm failing, I'm falling behind, that story adds weight to the weight you're already carrying. But if the story is, this is hard and I'm going through it and something is being built in me that couldn't be built any other way, that story doesn't make it easier, exactly, but it makes it survivable. It makes it meaningful. And meaning changes everything about how you carry something. Seventh thing, you cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. And this is one of the hardest truths, because sometimes the environment I'm talking about is not a place. It's a relationship, it's a pattern, it's a version of your daily life that has become so familiar you've stopped being able to see how it's affecting you. Healing requires space. It requires distance from the thing that caused the wound, at least enough distance to see it clearly. Because when you're still in the middle of it, still in the dynamic, still in the pattern, still surrounded by the same energy and the same voices and the same conditions that shaped the wound in the first place, you don't have the perspective to do the real work. You're too close to it. You're managing it, surviving it, getting through the day, but you're not actually healing from it. And I know that creating that space is not always simple. Sometimes it costs you something significant to get the distance you need. But I want to be honest with you about this. The cost of staying in the environment that's keeping you stuck is higher. It's just a slower cost. You pay it in pieces over time in ways that are easy to rationalize. A little more disconnection here, a little more numbness there, a little more resignation. Until one day you look up and realize you've been managing instead of living for years. And that is a cost. That is a real, significant cost. And it deserves to be named as such. Eighth thing, forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. I resisted this for a long time because it felt like letting someone off the hook for something real. Like the act of forgiving minimized what happened or suggested it was okay or gave the other person some kind of victory. And none of those things are true. Forgiveness is just the decision to stop letting what happened to you in the past have a vote in your present. That's all it is. It's not a feeling. You don't have to feel warm toward the person. It's not reconciliation. You don't have to let them back into your life. It's not pretending it didn't happen or didn't matter. It's just the decision that you are not going to keep carrying this. Not because they deserve to be free of accountability, but because you deserve to be free of the weight. And unforgiveness is heavy. It is one of the heaviest things a person carries. And it does its damage quietly, over time, in ways you might not even connect back to the original wound. It shows up in how much you trust people, in how much you let yourself hope, in how guarded you've become, in ways that now cost you things that had nothing to do with the original hurt. And the person who caused it, in most cases, has moved on. They're not sitting with the weight the way you are. You're the one still carrying it, and you have the option to put it down. Not for them, for yourself. Last thing. And this is the one I feel most strongly about, the one I most wish someone had said to me early. You are not behind. You are not too late. The timeline you've been measuring yourself against was never yours to begin with. There is no universal schedule for a meaningful life. There is no age by which you were supposed to have it figured out. No point past which the good things stop being available to you. No moment after which it's too late to start, to change, to become, to build. Those deadlines are social constructs, and they have caused more unnecessary suffering than almost anything else I can think of. People who gave up on their dreams at 30 because they decided they'd missed the window. People who stayed in the wrong life because they convinced themselves it was too late to build a different one. People who stopped believing in their own potential because the world told them the season for that had passed. It hadn't. It hasn't. It doesn't work like that. The most important thing is not when you start, it's that you start. And the most important thing is not how far behind you feel right now, it's which direction you're facing. Are you moving toward the life you actually want, or are you moving away from it? That's the question. That's the only question that actually matters right now. And if the answer is that you've been moving away from it, or standing still, or waiting for something that was never going to arrive on its own, then today is the day to turn around. Not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not when you feel more ready. Today, right now, with whatever you have and wherever you are, because the years are going to pass either way. Time moves whether you're building something or not. And the only question is what you're going to do with the time that's still in front of you. Don't waste it waiting. Don't waste it performing. Don't waste it carrying weight that was never yours, or managing opinions that were never true, or postponing a life that was always available to you if you were willing to reach for it. You know what you need to do. Most of us do. The question is whether we're finally going to do it. Drop a comment. Tell me, what's the one thing on this list that you needed to hear most today? I want to know. I read every single one.